Hey guys, and welcome back to episode 119 of the Sim Racing Show. And this week, Gamescom could completely shake up the sim racing hardware market because some of the biggest sim racing brands in the world are heading to Germany with new hardware, new technology, and I think at least one product that could take sim racing into completely new territory. So what is about to be revealed and which brands could steal the show? We'll get into it in just a second. Gran Turismo 7 has changed its physics again, but has polyphony actually made the game better or created another problem they now need to fix? Le Mans Ultimate now has a problem that's become too big to ignore, and Nacon has revealed some massive plans that could completely reshape its future in sim racing. We've also got a very strange launch from iRacing, RaceRoom continued to quality improve, and also other news like Euro Truck Simulator preparing something that could completely change what you actually do in a game. Let's get into it. So Gamescom is coming this week, and sim racers like us should really pay attention this year because a lot of new releases are on schedule. So the expo takes place in Cologne officially from August 26th to August 30, with opening night live on August 25th. And while Gamescom is obviously it's the most massive general gaming event, sim racing is starting to use it as a serious hardware reveal window. In fact, maybe the biggest hardware reveal window of the year, because a big one to watch is MOZA. MOZA is bringing its official MotoGP simulator to Gamescom, and this could be one of the strangest and most interesting pieces of sim racing hardware we've ever seen. It should not just be another wheelbase, it should be some form of motorcycle style hardware with handlebars, throttle and brake control. But the big question is whether the final version is actually going to simulate lean, force feedback and movement properly. But MOZA's not stopping there. They've also shown out of the blue a sim racing version of the Ford Mustang GTD steering wheel based on the quickest production Mustang ever. And unbelievably, they've also teased a new Mercedes-Benz product as well. So that's MotoGP, Ford Mustang GTD and Mercedes-Benz all around one event. Asetek also worth watching because its shifter and handbrake are expected, we think, around this period. PXN is also going to be there. Now, not only the entry level and the mid-range stuff we expect, but keep an eye out maybe for some high-end equipment from PXN, which is interesting because PXN is very competitive already in that lower-end space. On the game side, Project Motor Racing will be playable on the Giant software stand, and that's important because Project Motor Racing at this point needs more than just trailers coming out. It needs hands-on proof. The game has improved with recent updates, but it still needs to show people it's actually moving in the right direction. Fun Select is also going to show Over the Hill, which could be one of the more interesting off-road driving games coming up. That's not another circuit sim. It's a slower, more exploratory, more adventure-focused game. And with the Sim Racing Expo in Frankfurt following hot on the heels in October, with CES in early January, and with Sim Global Expo in late January, it's going to be the start of a few busy months for sim racing. So let me know in the comments, what are you most excited to see at the expos coming up? Now, Gran Turismo 7's latest free update has landed, and this one is actually not about the cars. I know we talk about the cars a lot. This one's really not about the cars. Yes, we did get a very Gran Turismo mix. We got the Caterham 7 Superlight R500, the Hyundai Onyx 6N, and the Toyota Chaser Tourer 5 and the Mark II Tourer 5. But the real story is the physics. Polyphony has changed the handling again, and the community is completely divided over whether it's actually better or worse. Some players love it because road cars feel more controllable now. Slides are easier to catch, lower grip cars feel more alive, and you can actually play with the weight of the car instead of being like instantly punished. And with my hands on time, I get it. When I tried road cars in particular, they felt more sophisticated, pliable, and fun than before. The Dodge Challenger felt like that. The RCZ felt nicer than ever. And the Caterham, which is a new car anyway, but it did feel like it could be brilliant for daily races of all standards. But Group 3 is undoubtedly where things get messy. The Porsche 911 G3 to me felt more understeery. Braking points felt way later for no apparent reason. And sometimes I felt like there's so much grip that you didn't really need to drive the car that carefully at all. And I think that's why competitive players are annoyed. Because from an esports perspective, or just a competitive player perspective, if you spent months learning for a track your exact braking points, throttle inputs, and your steering feel and the rotation, this update completely resets your muscle memory overnight. And for what? But the biggest issue, I think, for me is actually not even the grip. For me personally, it's the unpredictability of the curbs and off-track behaviour, because now some curbs to me feel like way too aggressive, almost like they're pulling the car off the track instead of just unsettling the car and bouncing the car off. And also when you go on the grass too much or you take too much curb, the car feels like you just can't recover it. So this update might be better for non-competitive players, single-player enthusiasts, tuners, and road cars. But for sport mode, Group 3, and also wheel users, to be fair, Polyphony still has work to do, because although Gran Turismo 7, in my opinion, should not just be built for 24 esports players, the top 24, but like F1's got into a bad habit, but also Gran Turismo can't make competitive racing feel vague, inconsistent, or unpredictable. It needs to find a balance. Can you even find that balance? Let me know in the comments. And actually, sticking with Gran Turismo, the annual Gran Turismo Award at Pebble Beach has taken place, and this year's winner is a very special Ferrari 250 GT Sperimentale, which is one of those cars that looks like it belongs in a museum or on a poster on your wall, and eventually, to be honest, probably inside Gran Turismo, because historically Gran Turismo award winners at Pebble Beach usually make their way into the series at some point. So the more interesting question here for me is actually a question of when does this become a future GT7 car, or is Polyphony already thinking further ahead with cars like this being prepared for GT8? Very interesting. Now, next, we need to talk about big LMU problems and also big Nacon plans. But before that, we'll say a big thank you to Conspit for sponsoring this video. And the timing of why they're doing it, I think, is pretty obvious, because they have just dropped the price of their Apex bundle, which is now looking like one of the most, if not the most aggressive direct drive entry-level mid direct drive package on the market, because now from $999 they've dropped it to $699, and also the same in other territories. You get the 310 Apex wheel, aluminium wheel with a screen that's going to be SimHub compatible as well, the CDR quick release, the CPP Apex 2 pedal set that includes a hydraulic pedal on the brake, and the Aries Apex 8 Nm wheelbase. And yes, that's all for $699, so incredibly competitive. There's no one else that really is bringing a wheel with a screen and a hydraulic for that price point. So this is aimed at people who have been racing for a fair time on something like a Logitech G29 or a Thrustmaster T150 and want proper direct drive force feedback without going for something that's going to be too entry level that they're going to want to upgrade again fairly quickly. That's why I think this is aimed at. There's also going to be a separate desk mount option as well, so you don't necessarily need to use a copy straight away. Now, big thanks to Conspit for sponsoring the sim racing show, but hopefully I've explained also why I think they're sponsoring it right now, because they want you to know about this bundle. Now, back to the news, because Le Mans Ultimate's ongoing multiplayer problems have now got even worse, I would say, and have had a very public consequence, because despite recent hotfixes, the game is still dealing with serious online issues, many of which began after the V1.4 update, the infamous update now. So the big story right now is that LFM, Low Fuel Motorsport Pro Series, has decided to postpone its season until the game is in a better state, and that's a big deal, because it's no longer just like random clusters, no offense to us, but that's kind of what we are, random clusters of players complaining. It's organized racing. It's organized racing having to step back because the online experience is not reliable enough. And that's a big warning sign on the dash for LMU, because LMU has had so much good news recently, and we've given it credit here. Strong sales, DLC momentum, people not complaining about DLC in the face of iRacing subscription costs, console ambitions, new content, and a much healthier looking Motorsport Games. But endurance racing, and it's Le Mans Ultimate, only works if people trust the service. So Motorsport Games is actually doing something big here. They say they're going to bring back their older version 1.4 netcode system and fix more bugs in their next major update due in September. That's probably the right move, but the pressure's now on. LMU has momentum. It needs to do everything to fix the online experience to support that. Now, Nacon has been under pressure recently because of financial problems that we've been breaking in this sim racing show. So make sure to subscribe right now. If you're not subscribed, please help me out subscribe. Also, look at the links below. Follow me on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, all of those links. But Nacon has just done a latest News from the Pits episode, which is like their kind of like, their thing where they talk about the next stuff they're doing. And that includes the next official WRC game, which now has a game. WRC, the official game, very innovative. That's currently planned for the end of 2027. Test Drive Unlimited Solo Crown Season 7 also is arriving much earlier though, on September the 2nd this year, with 6 new cars, which is quite exciting, because I have a soft spot for Test Drive Unlimited. I bought that one, I bought the premium edition for that one. Gear Club Unlimited 3 and MXGP 26, by the way, are both planned for October. But bad news for Endurance Motorsport Series fans. Bad news. That slipped now to spring 2027, which I don't understand, because I went to Nacon in the beginning of 2025 and I played Endurance Motorsport Series on a pad, on a wheel. I interviewed the developers there. and it looked all kind of ready, and I was really excited for this game to come out and for you guys and girls to play it. And it's now slipped, and I don't know why it keeps slipping. I don't know what's going on there. I'll have to speak to Nacon. But Nacon obviously wants to be a serious player in racing games. They've got WRC, Test Drive, Gear Club, MXGP, Endurance Motorsport Series. Used to have Rensport as well, but when I flew over to see Rensport, they say they brought that back from Nacon. Now, that's not only about racing games, because Nacon also has a hardware publishing brand called Revosim. Now, really interesting, because given the financial difficulties, how likely are you going to be to buy something from Revosim right now? But they've let us know what their plans are. And I think it is a significant step if you take it at face value. Scheduled for release in November, kind of around then. RS Pure, RS Initial, RS Lite, Direct Drive, rule-based bundles will all be released in distinct PS5 and Xbox Series X and X packages with, listen to this carefully, the RS Lite being an entry-level 3.2 Nm direct drive option for around €279 with pedals and with a rim. Okay, well, hang on a second. That's R3 money, but it's going to be on PlayStation. So maybe Nacon and Revosim are going to do something here. Maybe this is their shot. Maybe that's going to be a great product. PS5 compatible 3.2 Nm under €300. Let me know what you think about that. But honestly, is anyone who's thinking of buying MOZA right now going to hold off for that? I don't know. Let me know what you think. Now, iRacing Arcade has launched on PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and X, and it's an interesting one because it's not iRacing as people think of it. Full disclosure here, I worked on the previous game these developers did, Circuit Superstars. I was a part of that game. I'm very, very proud of that game. So it's important disclosure that you know that iRacing Arcade is like kind of a sequel to that. But I do think that there are a little bit of, I don't know, positioning things that can be sorted out with iRacing Arcade. Remember, this is like an accessible, colourful, driving game from original Fire Games, bringing the fun of Circuit Superstars, but marrying that with licensed cars and tracks from the iRacing world. So you do get more of a real racing flavour to it, but it's definitely in an arcade-friendly package because you have local four-player split screen. That's great. We've missed in racing the feel of being butt-to-butt on the sofa, racing and like that split-screen fun from like the old Mario Kart days. It's good to see that back. There is also a career mode, licensed content, and there is also that pick-up-and-play style that should work better on console. But I just think the promotion's been strange because I think iRacing Arcade is already made confusing conceptually by the fact it's branded iRacing, because it's not an iRacing simulation level. And iRacing is doing more publishing now. They're publishing NASCAR. We expect from the NASCAR 26 game, that's going to have iRacing level, technology to it because it has iRacing associated. It would be logical to expect the same thing from iRacing Arcade, but I don't think that's the case. And also, I haven't seen much promotion of this. Like, the original launch onto PC, there was some good promotion around that. But here onto console, which is where its natural home should be, it seemed to me to arrive very quickly. I don't think a lot of people even know that this has come out on console. And to me, that feels like a really missed opportunity. And I hope the idea doesn't get buried. I hope people try it who may like it. And of that proportion of people, some people may really like it. That'd be great for iRacing Arcade. Anyway, let me know if you knew it was come out. Now, RaceRoom has pushed out another patch following the already huge summer update. And this one's partly about fixing issues, but it also quietly adds some very, very, very welcome track refreshers. So the patch is addressing bugs from the recent update, including HUD issues and GT3 physics tweaks, and also changes to the sequential shifting behaviour. But Silverstone has been refreshed and brought up to 2026 spec. That follows similar updates RaceRoom did for Monza and the Nordschleife before as well. The timing's good because RaceRoom's free-to-enter FIA Esports European Hill Climb Cup has now started. That's going to run until September 7. The top 8 fastest drivers are going to be invited to a live in-person final. So you will see esports drivers entering this, and why not enter it yourself? Have a bit of fun as well. RaceRoom is kind of doing a lot of good things at once here, fixing stuff, adding new, refreshing content, having accessible esports content as well. Might not always get the same attention of iRacing, AC, LMU, but RaceRoom keeps moving. We keep mentioning it here in the Sim Racing Show. Now, Euro Truck Simulator 2, I mentioned at the beginning of the show, is getting another new truck. This one's a special edition Volvo. It's a 100-year edition Volvo F8 Series 6. It's going to arrive as part of the game's version 1.61 update. The truck celebrates Volvo's centenary with several real road-going versions expected to release in 2027. But the bigger ETS2 story right now is actually coaches mode. So players are going to be able to buy, drive, and customize coaches, including chassis, engine, and transmission configurations, and also interior customization with things like upholstery and curtain colors. So I'm going to remake some of the blandest coaches I've been. Why does every coach I'm on feel like it's straight from the 1970s? Well, now I can recreate it here. So Euro Truck Simulator is doing what it does best, slowly expanding the world, adding more vehicle types, and giving more people reasons to basically stay in the game. Now, make sure to join by the way, my Sim Racing Track Day, link in the description if that sounds like fun, and follow me on all the platforms, and I'll see you in the next episode.